Hi, this is John Kuntz, and welcome to the Disruptor's Introduction to Empathy Mapping. So, why do we use this activity, empathy mapping? I actually believe it's one of the most powerful design thinking techniques that you can use to really improve and scale by design. As a group, we want to reflect upon our team's collective knowledge about your users or your personas and create a common understanding of their goals and their motives. It's really important to remember that you are not your user, but everybody on the team knows something about the users. Here's an example of a couple of actual empathy maps that were created along the way. And you can see they get pretty elaborate, pretty cool, pretty detailed. And let me take you through how we actually get from here to there. First, I recommend 15, maybe 30 minutes at max per persona. So if you're doing multiple personas or multiple teams, you can break it up. But basically, the rules of the road for creating empathy maps is 1, write before you talk. You're going to be writing a lot of sticky notes or mural notes if you're doing it virtually. The big thing to remember is there are no bad ideas. We are in a process of diverging and we want to think big. So no bad ideas. Stay focused on the user or the persona at hand. Try to tie back what they think, what they feel, what they do, and what they say to your challenge statement or your problem statement. It's key that everybody participates, stays engaged, starts and stops on time. And yes, instead of don't dismiss any ideas, you can work around that later. So I like to say you separate the judging of ideas from the creation of the ideas. All right, you should be ready, set, let's go. First, draw a grid and a label, the 4 quadrants, as you see here. So basically a circle and 4 quadrants, and then label it one of the 4 quadrants as says, does, thinks, and feels. If you're doing this in mural and not in a conference room with post-it notes and Sharpies and flip charts and whiteboards, we have set this up for you in the Disruptor's mural template. Next, identify your persona or your stakeholder and put them in the center. Give them a name. Give a brief description of what they do and draw a picture of them and be creative, because this will really help you and the team sort of really start to get to know your persona, and then it really helps you. It's amazing on how it starts to help you truly empathize with them. Next, capture your observations. Everyone records what they know about that persona or stakeholder. You ideate silently. Use 1 sticky note per observation and place it within the appropriate quadrant. Don't get hung up on whether your idea or your observation is a says or a does or a thinks or a feels. It's not that important, and you can certainly move it around. Oh, by the way, doesn't mean it couldn't be in both. And we'll talk more about what that means in a secondary video. But basically, says and does are things that you can sort of observe, and thinks and feels are things that you sort of imply or infer. Within each quadrant, you might start to see some duplicates or some similarities, and that's good. Just start to put them together. Don't take them off. Just keep everything there, because that way it gives you the idea that more than one person on the team may have had a similar idea. And then last thing you do is we have to choose a persona or do a playback. So you choose one person to play back the empathy map. You describe the goals and the relationships and exist. Don't spend more than 3 to 5 minutes on this. It's just a quick way to go around the room and share what you've done. So that's it in a nutshell. That is empathy mapping and the Disruptor's introduction to empathy mapping. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed.